Hey, what's up, everybody? This is your boy Darnell. Listen, we're about to have a great conversation on tonight, and I would love for you to join me in this conversation. But this is what I need you to do. I need you to like, share, and tag this broadcast and let them know that the conversation broadcast is on. So, as you can see, Jonisha's not here right now. Tonight is my night to host the conversation broadcast. So, this is what I need you to do. I need you to come sit on the couch with me and let's have this conversation on tonight. So, first of all, I would like to say this to anybody that would like to sponsor us. We have a way you can do that. Okay, you could do this right here. You can cash app us, and if you like to donate at Rare Image 26. Rare Image 26, if you like to. If you would like to also have any questions or sponsorship, or you want to do an ad on, you can just hit this job form at the bottom and we will get with you on that. Also, if you have any question about our packages, we do have packages for our radio station. As you know, that Vision Radio is on the line and we are live. We have great music that we're playing. So if you like to be on there, if you have music yourself that you would like to have played on there, you can join us. You can not join us, but you can send us your music and we will be happy to play it for you. But we're about to get into our conversation on tonight. Like I said, if you will, let me know where you are from, and I will shout you out on this line. Today, I'm excited about this conversation that we're about to have today. Um, growth, growth. If you already noticed, I had tagged the definition of growth in our subject matter and what we're going to be talking about. So, I don't know about you. How many of you are going through changes right now? How many of you are having some moments where you see yourself evolving? You're not the same person you were yesterday. So, hey mom, how you doing? Great that you're on. Um, I've personally been going through a whole lot of changes in my life. Is moving so many different directions. And so I begin to recognize within myself the growth that I'm experiencing. So let's dive into what growth is. Now, let me say this, you all. What I'm doing tonight, right now, usually my sister is with me. And tonight is my first night doing this. Well, not my first night. I've done it one time before, but it's definitely been a minute since I've been on here by myself. So this is going to be a growing moment for me. So I'm going to tackle my anxiety. Yes, your boy deal with a little anxiety. I'm going to tackle my anxiety on tonight, and we're going to talk about some things, personal things, and I hope that what I share with you on tonight that it will be definitely encouraging. So, what is growth? What is growth? How do you define growth? Okay, so the definition of growth, my camera has disconnected. The definition of growth is defined as the process of increasing in amount, value, or importance. Okay, let me read it again. Growth is defined as the process of increasing an amount, value, or importance. Okay, y'all, please excuse me. The video is going in and out. I don't know what's going on. Maybe a StreamYard issue. But look, just listen to the conversation on tonight. Okay. So as Joe and I always do, we always bring our personal selves to this conversation, and we talk about our experiences, life experiences, and we talk about our personal experiences, and we share that with you all because we want you all to know that we're here to help and also to be helped. So I begin to think about some things that I personally have been experiencing on this week, not just this week, but in previous weeks, and I begin to notice the difference in my response to those situations. So, first of all, I had an awakening moment about who I am as a person and some things that I needed to correct my behavior, the way I sometimes I may come across to people, um, all those things. Because when you're a type of person that desires to grow, you will do that needed soul searching to become the better version that God has designed you to be. And so here I am. I'm doing some soul searching because some things about my character was brought to my attention. Hey, Darnell, this this is about you right here. Your tone is not always correct. Sometimes you be too standoffish and it come across this way. Maybe need to work on this. Maybe need to work on that. And the first time I heard this, it wasn't the first time, but when it came to me, my first mind was like, I'm not going to allow this to be said to me. So what I did was I kind of pumped my brakes a little bit because I want to be a better person. So when you want to be a better person, sometimes you listen to your criticism, whether it's destructive or constructive, because those things can be building blocks to you, period. And so I began to look at myself and I'll be like, okay, all right, Darnell, maybe you do need to change the way you approach situations. Maybe you do need to um, think about how this may look or how this come across. And so I sat there and I thought about it and I began to work on myself. I began to hold conversations within my mind. People, it's okay to talk to yourself. Hold those needed conversations. Um, and when you talk to yourself, you know, do a retrospect, judge yourself, not harshly. Oftentimes we always, I don't know about you, but I'm talking about myself. I judge myself harshly sometimes, but judging within itself is not necessarily a bad thing. Is judging is neutral, is how you do it. So when you're looking at yourself, okay, I need to work on this. I need to work on that, and that's what I did. So as I begin to notice my growth, I also begin to notice the attitudes of those around me. Now, now let me say this: God has placed great people around me. I'm not talking about those people, but there's some other people that begin to see my growth because as I dealt with my attitude, I start looking at situations differently, and I begin to see that, hey, Darnell, you have allowed a lot of things to come into your space that was not necessarily good. So that kind of goes back to the conversation that Jonisha and I had about boundaries. I had to go and redraw my boundaries in the midst of all of this. I had to go back and like, okay, Darnell, this is not healthy. That person's not healthy. Um, what you doing here is not healthy. So as I was tearing down things, I had to redraw some boundaries. And one thing that I discovered in redrawing my boundaries is this: that when you begin to make the necessary changes, there are those that are used to you being a certain way that secretly like you being in that hole. That's when they start coming at you with some negativity. Now, I'm not the one to always talk about haters. Now, I mention haters sometimes when I'm ministering at church and things like that, because the reality of it is there are haters, but not every situation is a hater situation. Everybody's not hating on you because they do not like you. Some people are actually being honest with you about who you are, right? And I know sometimes it's hard to listen to that level of criticism because most of us don't like to hear anything that doesn't sound perfect to us. But when you're a type of person that want to expand your conscience, or you want to evolve, like I said earlier, into a better version of yourself, what happens is you take on that. Okay, that's one perspective. Another perspective is this right here. As you begin to grow, you hear the negativity from people that you have supported. Now, I know some of you on here can attest to that. As you begin to change, as you begin to mature, as you begin to let things go, that people around you that you supported, that you encourage, that you walk with them, they begin to look at you and say, oh, now you selfish. Okay. Now you're arrogant. Oh, so you think you better. All those things begin to surface after you begin to realign yourself, as you begin to work on yourself. Those things come up to you, and they're said to you. And this is what I'm discovering. I'm just having this personal conversation. This is me talking about me. And I pray that this, what I'm saying to you all, will be a blessing to you. So as I evolve as a person and I'm having all this, and I had to stop myself because I began to internalize that. At that moment, I used to want to argue. Okay, let's be honest. We feel like that. I know I do. I got to have the last word. But now I'm realizing having the last word is not always important. And it doesn't mean that you're wrong. It doesn't mean that you're right. Sometimes you have to learn how to walk away from a situation, or you have to ignore something. So here I go again. As I mature and I begin to see, okay, yeah, my attitude may not be right with this right here. Maybe I did not have the right tone. So I'm beginning to work on these things. Maybe I should have approached the situation differently. I'm working all that out because I want to be the better version that God has designed me to be. So as I'm working this out, man, as I'm working this out, and you will be surprised, like I said earlier, there are those who like you where you are. Now it's funny because they will point out what you need to work on. But as you begin to work on those things, some people literally get upset about, okay, you're evolving, you're changing, you become a different person. I remember I was working on my weight, um and I started this process all over again. And I'm started so many times, but I'm working on trying to stick with it more this time. And I remember a conversation, at first with a friend that was encouraging me, oh, you doing it, you doing this, you doing well, and oh, I'm proud of you, I'm proud of you. As the weight began to drop off, this friend began to say things negative towards me. Well, like, look, well, you're doing this wrong, you're doing that wrong, and you're starving yourself. I wasn't starving myself. I just began to do what was right. So at the end of the conversation, the friend said to me, well, I don't want you to lose weight. I said, why? Because if you lose weight, where would that leave me? I will be fat by myself. And this was a real conversation, people. I will be fat by myself. Believe it or not, there are people out there who wants you to stay in your position of being the worst version of you because it makes them feel good about where they are. And as you begin to climb the ladder, where at one point in time they either looked at you as equals, or maybe you was beneath them, now they have to look at where you're climbing to. And then jealousy sets in and hatred sets in, and they begin to say little stuff about you. Oh, you think you this. And the reality of it is, now this may sound arrogant to most people, but as you begin to build your confidence in who you are better than what you was dealing with before. You are better. Now, it doesn't mean that you're better in a sense that you above human experiences and you're above relationships and all this. No, you are better than the mess that you was dealing with. Now, so here I am going through these changes. I'm I'm this and these are literal words that was said to me. And let me tell you something. In my evolving, one thing they were like, you're narcissistic. You're a narcissist. I'm sorry, you're a narcissist. You're arrogant. Um, you're selfish. Now, if anybody who's close to me know that I put people before me, I put family before me, I put friends before me, but these people that wants to keep you, they would name all these negative things because they know it would get to your spirit. And as you evolve, and as I evolve, I had to learn not to allow things to get to my spirit. One thing I had to do. So as the conversation was going forth, and this is a real conversation with a person, a friend of mine, associate of mine, and I said, you know what? Maybe I am those things. Ah, that takes a steam from it. Maybe I am, but I'm working to be a better person. Help me not to be those things that you listed. And when I tell you that it shifted because what they thought was going to be something to tear me down, it was actually something that built me. Because I am learning as I evolve, not to be offended always about things that come my way. When you always operate in the fence, it's hard to move forward. And that's something I had to learn to do, not to operate in offense, not to be offended by everything, or not to allow everything to offend me. So in that process, I start taking things that was said, things that was done, and I'm using it to build my character. So that's what you got to do. I'm encouraging you as you go through your life processes, as you go through your changes, use that to build your character. Use that as stepping stones. I know you may say, well, I heard this in church. That's fine. I am a churchy guy. I can't help it. It is who I am. Use those things as stepping stones. Use those things as ways to push yourself forward. That's all you got to do. Use it to push you forward. And you would begin to see your progress. And as you begin to see your progress, those people that are not healthy for you, you will begin to see yourself not entertaining that craziness, those conversations. And also along with that, you will begin to be more thankful about their placement in your life. Now, I used to be the person that want every hater, every negative person, every no good person to be put on my life. I mean, I used to want to block people on Facebook, want to remove them on social media. I wanted to block their phone numbers, do all that stuff because I didn't want to be connected to them. But now I'm in a position, and you have to be the same way. You have to find yourself being in a position, say, you know what? I'm not going to do any of that. I'm going to allow you to see me shine. Now, if you will put in your comment section, I'm going to allow those people around me who think that I'm going to stay in this position forever, my haters, all them folk, I'm not going to erase them out of my life. I'm going to allow them to see me shine, be that which God has created me to be. So it made me think about one of my favorite passages in scripture come from Psalms, the 23rd chapter. It talks about how David said that God will prepare a table in the presence of my enemies. Your elevation, your evolution, your progression is that table. Because as you evolve, things come to you, better things come to you, things fall off. People see you in a different light. You begin to see yourself in a different light. So allow them to see you for who you are. Allow them to experience who you are. Don't be so quick to want to push people away. You ain't got to do that. You don't have to do that. You don't have to push nobody away. You don't have to you don't have to do none of that. Now you don't have to entertain them, but what you can do, say, watch me. Watch me as I evolve. So that's a level of growth for me. I used to want to entertain it. I used to want to chase behind the gossip. I used to want to chase behind the lies. I used to want to have long conversation with people and talk about, oh, they said this, and they said this, and they did this. They called me this, they called me that. However, as I begin to see the greatness in me, and that's what you got to do. You have to see the greatness within yourself. You can't allow no one to dictate you how great you are. You set the standard, or you set the value to yourself. You set the value to yourself. And you have to believe that you within yourself is valuable. Even if those that is near you don't see the value in you, you have to set the value for yourself. I heard a story one point in time about an old car. The guy was fixing an old car, and people was talking about the car and things like that. And so one day a guy came up and like, wow, do you know what you have in your possession? And so the guy said, no, I really don't. This is an old car that my father gave me, and so on and so on. The guy would begin to tell him, well, do you realize that this car is worth X amount of dollars? Now, to those who didn't know the value, they thought the car was worthless. But someone came in, talked to the young man and said, hey, this car is valued. It changes your perspective. Sometimes you need just one person to direct you, to let you know, hey, brother, sister, you are valuable. God has set something great in you. Now, those around you may not realize your value, but that's when you got to tell them, hey, I know that I'm valued. And sometimes there's a person God has placed in you, an angel. Whether your angel is your mother, your father, your pastor, your friend, or your friends, that will speak to you and tell you your value. Look, guys, I am sorry that the video is not working. That wasn't my fault. It just spazzed out. But I wish that you all can see me, and I wish that I can, all that. But I just want to tell you, growth, understanding the importance of who you are, understanding that it doesn't matter what they think about you, understanding that you don't have to deal with certain situations anymore. Understanding that's important. Now, I'm gonna say this. I know we're online. Just tap yourself and just say, hey, I am a high valued person. Now, whether those around you see it or not, it doesn't really matter. You have to know that you're a high value person. Okay. So how I knew that I was growing from those things. Now, I started talking about some things were pointed out to me about my character that I need to work on. So I began the process of working on them. Okay. And then I talked about how as I worked on those things, that some people didn't like the change, which was confusing to me. How are you going to point out my flaws, but then get upset with my change? Now, you all know that doesn't make sense at all, right? So here I am moving forward, and you upset with me because I am evolving, right? So as I begin to recognize my change, I begin to set myself up differently. I begin to move. Look, people, I am moving differently. And I'm encouraging you, look within yourself. Notice your value. And as soon as you notice your value, begin to move differently. Set yourself up differently. Now, they're going to call you arrogant, bougie, all of that. They're going to give you every name that's possible that's in the book. But it doesn't matter, because you are important. Even if they don't see you that way, you have to see yourself that way. I never forget. I was in school, and there was this young lady. She was not the best dressed. She didn't keep her hair up, none of that. But she walked around that school with her head held high. Whether we thought she was beautiful, whether we thought she was intelligent, it did not even matter to her, because to her, she was everything. She understood her value. And she realized that value wasn't always within the clothing, wasn't always within the hairstyle, wasn't always among having a large group of friends. She herself was valued within herself. And when I look back at that, I'm looking at like it didn't matter to her. And I'm saying to you, don't allow what other people viewership of you matter. Hold your head up, lift your head up, keep moving forward, keep stepping high. They call you arrogant. That's fine. Call you bougie. That's fine. Let them call you whatever. Usually, Bishop Jake said something that was so powerful. He was talking about the rich versus the poor. And he said, you know what? It's always those that are without always got something to say. Those who are moving forward, they are building themselves, they are growing. Those that understand their value, their importance, and their contribution, they never pay attention to anyone else around them negatively because they looking at themselves what they can improve. It's always those that don't have anything, don't have a vision for their lives. They always have something to say. That's always want to be discouraging, negative. They always have something to say. So when you hear people always got something to say about you, it's because they see you climbing up while they still in the same position. I'm involving. And one of these days, and me and Jonisha always talk about this. I'm gonna have an open conversation, and I like to snitch on myself. I like to talk about myself. I like to tell on myself. Let me say it that way, because I want my life to be an at a point or a place or of encouragement to someone. That's what I want. So I haven't always said things right. I haven't always done the thing. I have not always done things right. I mean, you can talk to people about 10, 15 years ago. They probably can tell you some good stories. And you know what? I will be the first to say amen to that. But I found myself in those holes because I didn't know my value. I became a monster in the midst of all that because I allowed what people had to say about me to create an image in my head. Bible talks about pulling down strongholds and imaginations, right? I created an image of myself because I allowed people to speak to me and shape my thought of who I am. But let me tell you, when you break free, it's a great experience. It's a great experience when you break free. Growth, knowing the importance of you, knowing where you are. And this is the funny part about it. What I'm experiencing, I'm watching my friends experience the same thing. I'm talking to different friends from different levels, and everybody is talking about their change. Everyone is talking about what they see about themselves. Everyone is experiencing that. I'm talking about, I'm connected to, and you probably can say the same thing out there. Like, I'm experiencing this. My family is experiencing, those that want better, those who want to progress. They are experiencing changes. They are seeing themselves. They're looking at the mirror of life and they're saying, you know what? I can do better. I'm going to be better. The Bible says this: when a man cease from trouble, cease from strife, cease from all this foolishness. So that's when all the fools start come meddling. It doesn't matter. They're going to come anyway. So hold your head up high and be like, know what? Let me move forward. And that's what I had to do. I had to learn how to hold my head up high. And it was an amazing experience for me because, like I said, like I would want to argue with you about me. And what I did was, man, I was so proud of myself. And sometimes you got to be proud of yourself. You got to pat your own self on the back. And when that person began to call out certain things they thought is part of my character, and I said to them, you know what? You might be right. That might be it. Okay, you said this. That might be the case. You said that might be the case. As the conversation go on, I took ownership of it. Now, some labels that this person tried to put on me, and this was the first person tried to put these labels on me. I know that's not who I am. But what I did was I took the stone, I took the brick, and I began to build. And I am currently building. And that's what you have to do. You have to take those bricks and you have to build with it. And before you know it, you have your home. Those negative things that are supposed to tear you down, that's supposed to be discouraging, that's supposed to beat you up, it begin to build a strong fortress for you. Let me read the definition again. I love this definition. When I was looking for the definition of this word, man, I was really blessed by it. I was really blessed by it. I was like, wow. Really blessed. Growth is defined as the process of increasing an amount, value, or importance. The word value and importance stuck out to me more than anything because as you begin to grow, you're going to get bigger. It's like a tree, man. You know, trees start as a seed begin to sprout in the ground and it grows up, but that tree doesn't look like a tree as it comes up. I mean, it looked like something very weak. But as a tree begins to survive the weather, the seasons, it's growing. It's dealing with probably being stumped on by some animal, stumped on by us, but it finds a way to still grow. Before you know it, 30 years from that time that the seed was planted, it's a large oak tree. It's a tall pine tree. It weathered the storm. Now it's huge. It's massive. And that's how you have to look at yourself. As you evolve, you become a huge. You become this massive entity, energy, person, and a person of value. And who puts that value on you? You yourself. Hey, I hope you enjoyed this podcast. I'm not really a long talker at all. I just want to share this tidbit with you all and talk about my experience and things I'm learning about me. Um, I'm evolving and I'm changing and I'm taking ownership of everything that I am. And also, not only just ownership, taking responsibility. And also, I'm using every negativity that is thrown at me, every label that people try to place on me, and I'm using it to build a better version of myself. Hey, once again, I would like to say this. If you would like to support us financially, you can cash app us at Rare Image, the number 26, Rare Image, number 26. If you like to partner with us, and I believe I said this earlier, you can go online. You see that HTTPS. You can see that that's the site where you can go in, you can fill out the form, and it's safe. I promise you, it's safe. It goes straight to our bank, and you can fill that form out and to support us, be our partner. If you have any questions about our packages and those things, like I said, you want your music played on the radio station that we have, which is not Rare Image, Vision Radio, excuse me. Or if you want to be having ideas about any shows you want to talk about, you can email us at rareimage number 26 at gmail.com. Or hey, we even pray. I promise you, we are some churchy individuals. If you want us to pray with you, you can send us your prayer request. We love to pray. So look, I love you all, and I will see you again next Friday at the same time, which is 7 p.m. on Rare Image, the conversation, the couch. Listen, I love you, good people, and I see you next week. God bless.